They don't respect you, huh? That little gut punch you feel when someone talks over you, the dismissive tone, the sarcastic chuckle when you speak, the silence when you walk in a room. It's loud, isn't it? Let's not sugarcoat it. Disrespect stings. And if you're anything like me, you've had moments where you sat in your room thinking, what did I do wrong? You replay conversations. You analyze their tone. You even start to wonder if maybe you deserve it. But pause. You're not here to beg for basic decency. You're not on this earth to chase the approval of people who treat you like background noise. This is your turning point. Because the Stoics, they didn't waste their peace trying to win small minds. They didn't get pulled into petty games. They didn't seek validation from people too lost in their own chaos to see your worth. They handled disrespect with something more powerful than anger. They used distance, not to punish, not to be dramatic, but to protect their energy. See, you can't control how someone treats you, but you can absolutely control how long you stand in that fire. And sometimes the strongest move isn't yelling back. It's walking away, calmly, quietly, without explanation. Because the moment you stop arguing for your worth is the moment they start noticing it. That silence, it speaks volumes. It says, I see what you're doing. I just refuse to play your game. It says, you no longer have access to my energy. And that is power. Understand this. People disrespect what they think they can get away with. They test you. They push to see your reaction. But when they see you unbothered, when they see you smile and step back, they get confused. They panic because the one thing they can't handle is losing control. But let's be real for a second. Sometimes disrespect doesn't come from enemies. It comes from people you love. Family, friends, a partner. That's when it cuts deeper. That's when it hurts more. And that's when the lesson gets harder. Because love without respect is not love. It's manipulation in disguise. And you were not made to shrink for people who refuse to grow. You don't need to yell. You don't need to explain. Your presence has already spoken. Now let your absence do the talking. Let them wonder why the room feels colder without you in it. Let them remember the warmth they once ignored. And if they never do, good. Because now you have space for people who actually see you, who listen when you speak, who respect your boundaries, your values, your silence. The Stoics knew true confidence doesn't shout. It doesn't chase. It doesn't beg. It doesn't perform. It simply is a quiet fire, a calm storm, a knowing that says, I don't need to prove anything to anyone. And you're stepping into that now. So the next time someone doesn't respect you, don't argue. Just pause, smile, and walk away like you've already won. Because because you didn't let their noise become your identity. You didn't let their chaos become your cage. And that right there is a kind of freedom most people will never understand. You see, when you stop trying to make others respect you, you start respecting yourself. In the silence, in the boundaries, in the space you create when you say, no more. That's when things begin to shift. Not outside you, but within. Your spine straightens. Your voice softens but sharpens. Your heart hardens just enough to stay safe, but never bitter. You start choosing peace over performance, dignity over drama. And suddenly, the people who used to dismiss you, they don't even recognize you anymore. Because the version of you that tolerated the bare minimum, that version doesn't live here anymore. This new you don't argue with disrespect. You outgrow it. You don't clap back at ignorance. You rise in silence. You don't retaliate. You rebuild. Because nothing confuses a disrespectful person more than watching someone they thought they broke rebuild in silence, unapologetically, unbothered, unreachable. You think you need revenge? You don't. You think you need closure? You don't. What you really need is distance, discipline, and dignity. Distance gives you clarity. Discipline gives you control. And dignity? Dignity gives you the last word, without ever saying a word. You are not here to convince anyone of your worth. You are not here to trade pieces of yourself for scraps of affection. You are not here to chase people who are blind to your value. You are here to stand tall in your truth, to protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is, to know that being respected starts with how you respect yourself in the mirror when no one else is watching. And maybe, just maybe, the disrespect you felt was the final lesson you needed, the push from the universe to stop shrinking, to stop seeking, to stop settling. Because sometimes life whispers and we ignore it, then it speaks and we still pretend not to hear. But when it shouts through disrespect, that's your cue to walk out of the room you've outgrown, not with anger, not with hate, but with peace. The kind of peace that rattles those who try to disturb it. The kind of peace that cannot be touched, moved, or manipulated. The kind of peace that says, I didn't lose you. I found me. And finding yourself, that's the real victory. Because at the end of the day, you don't need louder words. You need quieter strength. You don't need to teach them a lesson. You need to teach yourself peace. You don't need to prove your power. You need to protect your peace. And when you finally do, when you stop trying to fix what was never yours to fix, when you stop watering deserts, hoping they'll bloom, when you stop begging for decency from people who aren't even decent with themselves, you begin to rise, not in noise, not in rage, but in stillness, in control, in grace. That's Stoicism, that's spiritual strength, not being untouched by life, but unmoved by its noise. You're no longer available for disrespect, not because you're angry, but because you're free, because you've remembered who you are, and once you do that, you never beg for respect again. You simply become someone who commands it, without ever raising your voice. And that right there is the kind of power they never saw coming. So walk away, not to escape them, but to return to you. Walk away, not with bitterness, but with boundaries that speak louder than any reply. Because real peace isn't passive. It's a decision to no longer sit where you're shrinking, to no longer wait where you're wasting, to no longer explain to those committed to misunderstanding. You're not cold. You're clear. You're not arrogant. You're aligned. You're not heartless. You're just finally listening to the silence that kept trying to save you. This isn't about them anymore. This is about you. Protect your peace. Hold your power. And let your silence say what words never could. Not every war needs your sword. Some just need your absence. Not every insult needs defense. Some dissolve in your distance. Let them talk. Let them twist it. Let them try. But let you remain unmoved. Because your dignity doesn't debate. This is what strength looks like now. Not louder. Not harsher. But quieter. Still. Rooted. And when you look back one day, you won't remember what they said. You'll remember how free you felt. The moment you chose peace over proving. So go ahead. Don't fight for a seat at their table. So now you know, you don't need to argue to prove you matter. You don't need to shout to be heard by the right people. And you definitely don't need to beg for respect that should have been given freely. Because silence is a language. Distance is a decision. And respect? That's not something you chase. It's something you carry. You walk through this message with grace. Now walk through the world the same way. Not trying to win anyone over. Just honoring the peace you build inside. If this spoke to something deep in you, if it reminded you of who you truly are, subscribe for more. There's strength in this path, and I'll walk it with you. Until next time, take care of your mind, protect your energy, and never forget, you don't need noise to be powerful. Sometimes the loudest move is your silence. Goodbye for now. Stay strong, stay calm, stay you.